Tonight on Minor League Cricket Live, Atlanta Fire become the first Atlantic team to win the championship. We talk to some of their stars, break down the final, and highlight memorable moments from the Super 8. This and more coming right up.
6-6 and add a fourth to close the game.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Minor League Cricket Live, and of course it's a special one because it's a Super 8 and the final that we'll be breaking down. I know we're a week late, Nate, but it felt like we needed a week to almost just regroup and gather ourselves after what was an unbelievable week and weekend to finish off the 2025 Minor League Cricket season. How crazy is it to think we've just finished out year 5?
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that it happened more than a week ago.
Yeah.
But it was such a good time. It was such a good final. It was a great season. And honestly, being part of the final on commentary with you at Church Street Park, an Atlantic team winning, Atlanta Fire, all that, it was just so special and perfect.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Being there with you, being there with Brian Walters, our entire production crew, the Atlantic team, and we'll get into that in a second. Want to say to you guys, for whoever's been tuning in all year, we thank you guys, and we thank you guys for tuning in tonight. So since you're here, might as well get busy and get active. Drop some comments, drop some questions, or just even your own thoughts, because we are here to answer and interact with you guys. We'll be looking at the comment section throughout the broadcast today. But Nate, I know we're going to talk a lot about that final, right? We're going to have to. But I feel like we've got to take a step back. We've got to start with the Super 8s. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with the Super 8s.
Because they were so good, and we're going to start maybe a little bit biasly close to home. We're going to start out at Church Street Park, and we want to start with basically the game that decided who was going to be in that final. It was going to be the Atlanta Fire or the Baltimore Royals. That was a Super 8 matchup. It wasn't the last one of the weekend, but it was going to be the one that decided who was going to get a foot in the door into that final. Rishabh Pandey sent up the order and got off to a brilliantly hot start, but Sagar Patel fell in the first over. But I mean, it just put more pressure on the young man, and he kept delivering with brilliant shots around the ground. Look at that one. Paul Palmer, he was dropped early in his innings, but the wheels just kept moving after that, because then you had Rishabh Pandey chime in, and then Paul Palmer with the left-right combination took the leg spinners out of the game. Rishabh Pandey would continue to bring up a second half century of the Super 8 for himself, and then Paul Palmer would chime in with runs of his own to get the Fire to 100, and then it was the Jamar Hamilton and Shakib Al Hasan show, Nate.
Yeah, it was a couple of huge partnerships, this one here, where they could just let it go free and score big. It was really amazing to watch, that one in particular. What a bunch of great shots from these two powerful batters.
Got the score all the way to 175, so huge for Baltimore to chase. And then Mukhtar Ahmed on the very first ball goes because Shakib Al Hasan gets Jamar Hamilton to throw it to the night sky. And then Janoy Drysdale chimed in with a wicket in his very first over of Sharad Lumba. Then to start the third over, Shakib Al Hasan gets Gunwarjeet Singh, and the Royals in trouble. Agni Chopra, he was the antidote. He was able to keep things together. The best batter by the Royals by far, and he just hit shots against everyone all around the ground, but just ran out of partners, Nate. Ansh Patel was able to take both Rishi Dhawan there, thanks to Stephen Taylor, and then Jaskar Malhotra. And then Stephen Taylor, after two catches, said, it's my turn to chime in with the ball, gets Agni Chopra. Jamar Hamilton says, yeah, I'm going to do a little lap, and then Rishi Ramesh plays all around one, and Ansh Patel would pick up Mohsin to get his 4 wickets, and Shakib Al Hasan gets 3, and Nate, this was a commanding victory in the end for the Atlanta Fire.
Oh, absolutely, and Ansh Patel just spun a web around him like he did all season. You see the celebration there. There's no lack of personality in this squad.
No question, and yes, Shakib would pick up his 3rd, and Shakib said yes, the Fire said yes, and they knew they were one step closer to the finals after that performance. Brilliant from them, Nate. We thought that would be the game that would decide it. And the Fire said, yeah, this is ours, no questions asked.
Commanding too, and that first wicket on the first ball just really put them behind the 8 ball. Getting Kunwarjeet Singh out early they only had 11 runs on the board when he was out. Massive wicket, as good as he's been at Church Street Park this season and in the league in general. Just a key player for that squad. And when you look at the Baltimore batting, it just feels like it's limitless.
Yeah.
So you have to take those early wickets.
Mm-hmm. The 3 through 3 overs, I think, was the big killer. But also, don't overshadow the lack of batting for the Atlanta Fire without Stephen Taylor. You send Rishid Bande up there. He's got to go up and score in a hurry. That was a real key thing for them. And he was brilliant. You had a chance to talk to him after that game. Have a listen to that conversation.
Yeah, just trying to make sure that I applied for the team. I knew my role. My team made it very clear what my role would be, and just batting it through, trying to carry the team. Yeah, happy to perform.
And perform, did he ever, Nate? He was brilliant.
He was excellent. And then we always wondered about how they would navigate those spin overs from Baltimore. Baltimore have so many spinners, especially their leg spinners. Paul Palmer coming in at number 3 proved to be the antidote, along with Rishi Pandey, who's difficult to find his length for any bowler, fast bowler or a spinner. And I gotta say, the spin bowling from Baltimore wasn't at its best. The lefty-righty partnership really frustrated them, and the way that the two of them played really frustrated them too.
And again, that leg spin duo didn't finish their quota of 8 overs, and that's not something you hear every day. So it speaks about how good the Fire were. Now that was scheduled to be the last game of the Atlantic Division Super 8. Wasn't, because the first day basically got rained out, quote unquote, and then pushed into Saturday. But the last day of the Pacific, oh my Lord, was that all 3 teams were in play to get to the final. And in the last over, 3 teams were in play to get to the final. That's what you want. Let's head over to that right now. The Chicago Kingsmen took on those Kings 11 Dallas to see who would get back to a final, and East Bay would have a close eye on this contest. Ziol Huck would strike early, taking Rahman Dad, but from there, it was a 100-run partnership between Andres Gils and Unlachan.
Yeah, just incredible display from 2 of the best batters in the USA right here. Just immense.
They just kept going, and it never felt like it was going to end. Ali Sheikh then came in and found off boundaries to close out the innings. Faraz Ali and Ramiz Raja got off to destructive starts, but Amshi Da Silva took an early wicket, and then Sanchit Sandhu, he would chime in with a wicket of his own, and suddenly the script has flipped. But then comes out Captain Saad Ali, stepping in for Hamad Azam in this game, and he was brilliant, along with Tajinder Singh, who hit some destructive blows down the ground as well. But it wasn't all that, because Saad Ali would keep going and going, but Ali Sheikh would get Tajinder Singh. And this felt like a moment that shifted the game, because just a couple deliveries later, Hassan Khan falls. This one, a brilliant catch by Adam Khan in the deep, and then 2 balls later, Anwar Ali Khan goes. And you're thinking, it's all on Saad Ali with Obis Panar bowling the final over. 4 there, 6. And then he needed just 1 more and delivered it. And ended up closing it rather nicely, did those Chicago Kingsmen, to get back to a 2nd straight final, Nate.
Well, they bat so deep, so when you see clumps of wickets fall, you got to get your hopes up if you're the other side. Saad Ali had a really measured innings for the most part, and then came on the fire late. It seems like to me, Kings 11 need to revisit their bowling plan a little bit, because they liked to go with 5 bowlers pretty much throughout the Super 8, but it's less than ideal. As good as Obis is with the ball, it's less than ideal to have to turn to him time and time again in the last couple of overs.
And it's just so tough. Left arm spinner, left-handed batter,
yes.
Smaller side of the ground in play as well.
Yeah.
He was trying to push it out wide, bowled 2 wides that seemingly changed the course of that over.
Took
also,
the pressure off a lot.
It also kept East Bay in it too. They were like, okay, now we're still here. We're cooking with grease, because effectively those 2 wides actually took Kings 11 Dallas out of the final.
Yeah.
Because even at that point, if Kings 11 Dallas had won, based on that run rate, it would have been East Bay that would have gone through.
It was a very interesting game. You had to be somewhat into mathematics to really get a good grasp of it, or you had to listen to Joe Hickey, who broke it down really well.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
right? The math
that's
isn't
right.
our strength, but Joe Hickey, we love you, buddy.
Just an incredible finish, though. Just absolutely insane. And the fact that Saad could stick around that long as the left-handed bat when Obus is forced to bowl that final over,
Yeah.
it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
And again, this is Hassan Khan going with that really without scoring. You have Anwar Ali Khan goes with just the one boundary to his name. Tajinder Singh, yeah, he started, but he didn't finish. It really felt like everything was being set up for this game to go in the favor of Kings 11 Dallas. And somehow or another, the Kingsmen just fought back and back and back, especially after a 100-run partnership in the first innings.
Yeah, and both of these teams are just incredibly deep batting, so you knew it was anybody's game. But yeah, just an absolutely incredible way to decide the finalist.
Yeah, it did. It decided those Pacific finalists, and then everything went the way it needed to for the Atlanta Fire to get in to the final. And it set everything up. The grand finale, Sunday night, under the lights, nowhere else than Church Street Park. The Atlanta Fire took on those Kings 11 Dallas. And the Kings 11, they took on the Kingsmen, not the Kings 11 Dallas. And the Kingsmen won the toss, chose to bat first. And look, I'd say it's a coincidence, but it can't be, because that's the second time Shakib Al Hasan strikes in the first ball. Then it was the steadiness of Saad Ali and Faraz Ali that put a partnership together. But Saad Ali skies one, he's got to be out. No, Shakib drops it. And then these two tried to push on, but Ansh Patel says, okay, I'll clean up with Sagar Patel in the deep. Saad Ali goes, and everything turned to Faraz and Tajinder, but Tajinder holes out. What a catch from Sunny Patel. And then it was Hassan Khan striking a big six, skying it again, but falling safe yet again. A lot of work for the outfield to do, and of course he made the Fire pay right away. Faraz Ali, though, he would finish with 92. How good was he, Nate?
Oh my gosh, he really rescued them when wickets were falling. And they were really slow for a while, and he accounted for most of their runs until he finally clicked fire.
Hassan Khan tried to repeat the dosage, but he would come to an end thanks to Janoy Drysdale. Faraz Ali, he would continue his destructive day, but Nate, he combined with Ziaul Huq in the final over.
Yeah, this was kind of lucky there on the first blow. But on the very next one, Zia did exactly what he was trying to do, and this one got to the rope in a hurry.
Even though 92 is the highest score ever in a final in minor league cricket, only 156 was what needed to be chased, and extras hurt.
Oh, they really hurt early on. There was a lot of pressure early on at Atlanta Fire, and they really let it off.
But the wickets fell in a hurry. This, though, a huge drop by Tajinder Singh. Mudassar bowled brilliantly, but he was supported. Ziaul Huq says, I'll clean up business. He gets Paul Palmer in the next over. But Sagar Patel and Aaron Jones, they steadied the ship after those initial wickets. They were brilliant batting together early on. Sagar Patel, he would keep the striking going, but he would just hole out. And then it brought in Stephen Taylor, who absolutely silenced the doubters about that hand with this enormous, maybe the biggest six we saw all week, as Aaron Jones continued to chime in the lone Tajinder Singh over. And then once Stephen Taylor departed, Shakib Al Hasan, he got a mantra six over the rope as well to go alongside Aaron Jones. But then Shakib would hole out, and you thought, is there a twist in the tale? But Aaron and Jamar, Nate, the story is old as time.
As old as 2022 at the very least, when they almost led the team to the final victory.
It was brilliant, those hits in the same region of the ground. Jones was continuously brilliant. Jamar Hamilton was destructive. And Aaron Jones brought up 50, cool, calming, collected. One final moment for the Kingsmen, though, because they would get Jamar Hamilton to sky one up. And you thought, is it too little? Is it too late? And Sunny Patel would walk in and say, yeah, it absolutely is. The winning moment right there for the Atlanta Fire. Ball trickles to the boundary rope. And the Atlanta Fire are your 2025 champions. And Stephen Taylor would take that suspenseful walk over to his team to get that trophy and the celebrations going for one heart, one fire, and one team, one champion that remained in 2025. Nate, how good was this unit all year long?
Just incredible. And the courage of Stephen. He played through the whole Super 8 pretty much with an injury, and he didn't bat until that last game. And for him to bring himself in when they really needed it and to go big and take Tajinder Singh out of the attack, incredible.
So good, and you see the celebrations there on your screen. And it was a final that had a little bit of everything, because when you get to 156, you're thinking, yeah, that feels light, but the Kingsmen might have just done something with a couple of boundaries at the end, Nate.
Yeah, especially as I mentioned, Stephen, we didn't know if he would bat or where he would bat. Those early wickets really were dangerous. and anything could have fallen apart at any point in time until Aaron Jones started clicking on fire with Jamar Hamilton.
He was brilliant, and we have a couple of comments, so I do want to hit those. Manan Patel starts out by saying, congratulations to the Atlanta Fire. Chicago Kingsmen played mostly all their games in Texas. Might have played a little role for them not being able to perform in the final. Can't take any credit away from the Fire. Their whole team played for each other. Nate, what do you make of that? Do you attest to the Church Street Park home advantage?
Couldn't say it any better than that. I agree with him 100%. This is a team that if you take the game to Grand Prairie, they've got an edge over Atlanta Fire because of the fast bowling. However, the Atlanta Fire are almost built for Church Street Park, especially the way they played there all season. With the amount of spinners that they have and the depth of their batting and their ability to bat at Church Street Park, I definitely think it worked in Atlanta Fire's favor.
Yeah, I would agree. And I remember Sunny Patel talking to me as well, saying, this feels like a theological difference here because we're a team with 4 spinners and 1 seamer, and they're a team that's going to bring 4 seamers and 1 spinner. And it was what worked for each team all year long in their respective conferences. And this is the great adjustment, right? Where is the final going to be?
Yeah.
And you can't say that where the final is going to be is going to affect which conference wins because this is the first time we have an Atlantic Conference winner. Absolutely,
yeah. 2 entirely different belief systems in terms of how to put the team together. So you're absolutely right. And honestly, the funny thing is, if Kingsmen were compiled to win at Church Street Park, I don't know if they get out of the Super 8.
Absolutely. And so that's the little nuance there. I have another set of comments from Hobbit Jack. He says, it really was a brilliant final. Yeah, it played awesomely, and as a new fan, I found it super exciting, and we find it exciting that we got a new fan out here watching minor league cricket. Hobbit Jack, welcome to the community.
Welcome indeed, 100%. Always good to welcome new people, and at Church Street Park we get to see a lot of new faces, so it's great to see them online too.
And Hobbit Jack, he also says the Chicago extras hurt to watch. Without a Florida team, my Illinois family meant I was rooting for the repeat victory, which meant each of those extras was something of a bit of an ouch. And it absolutely was. I think you look at those first 3 overs, there was no runs really being found off the bat. All of it came off courtesy of extras, especially with the 2 early wickets.
The pressure could have been absolutely immense without those extras. And they failed in that regard. Because we know at Church Street Park, the power play doesn't always go as scripted.
Yeah.
We know you've got to sometimes fight to get through it at 45 with a loss of 2. They weren't going to get anywhere near that without those extras, and that really kept them in the game.
It really did, and so did Jamar Hamilton. We had a chance to sit down with him. Here's him talking about his game plan straight after the match.
Well, I met Aaron at a crease. He was already set. My aim is just to take some pressure off him. He's been batting well, so it was just for me to just give him that extra boost, and I take more risk than him.
And like we said, Jamar Hamilton, absolutely brilliant. And Nate, he said something to you that I thought was really funny.
It was cool. He told me, because I asked him about, the memories of the partnership and stuff like that from 2022, and batting with Aaron Jones. And I said, how did things feel? How did it feel? And he said, Aaron said to me, don't worry, pup. I'm a big game player. And that's what he told him when he came to the middle. And we all know that. Aaron is a big game player. So
World Cup, CPL, minor league, he's done it all. Also, speaking of big game players, Steven Taylor in Church Street Park, that's a marriage made in absolute heaven. But that injury of Steven Taylor, if you guys don't know, he had taken a steroid shot and was taking painkillers for his right hand or his left hand to be able to bat and to be able to hold the bat, and it was a really big issue for him, and he didn't know whether he was going to come out to bat. Here's him talking about that injury and his game plan with it.
Sunny Patel came to me, vice captain, and said, what you think about batter? As in the Florida position, as just getting the singles and not hitting up at the ball. Well, me personally, once I get the wicket, I'm going to look to hit. So what I did, I just did some knock-ups, some heavy balls, some medicine balls. I didn't feel any pain, so I just said, okay, let me try again. Hit some regular balls, and I didn't feel anything, so I said, yeah, let's roll.
And does that answer the question, Nate Hayes?
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes, honey, that was brilliant.
It was brilliant, and you can see in that when he took that shot. After you watch it fly over,
To come look at it, I mean, it was so courageous what he went and did. But again, it just speaks to Stephen Taylor, the man, the cricketer, and just the unbelievable fighter that he is.
And at that point in time, the Kingsmen needed another spinner in the game, and they had brought Tejinder in for the lefty, for Stephen Taylor, and Tejinder goes for 15 runs in the over, and we don't see him again. Just a huge moment in the game, in the context of the innings, when he decided to come in at all. We saw him preparing, walking around in front of us because where we were positioned. He's getting ready to go in, and the hair on my arm stood up because we knew that he was doing something brave in the biggest moment of the season. And for him to perform the way he did in that moment, if Stephen Taylor's fine and he opens the batting and he gets out, we're missing out on that moment.
Yeah.
But for him to come in at such a strategically opportune moment and perform the way he did, just enormous.
Enormous, and especially when you consider the context. The Fire were in this position back in 2022, and they failed to get over the line. I remember asking them the presentation about it. They said it was on their mind then, and then Nate, you spoke to them in the post game, and here's what they had to say to Nate.
100%. We know that that time we thought we was the better team. We played a little bit of bad cricket within, I'll say, the last 5 overs of that game, and that gave us the loss. So this year we was more amped up for winning this game, for sure.
We fell short in 2022, and then coming back in 2025, we know that by any means necessary, we have to at least try our best. We don't mind losing, but let's put our best foot forward that we left everything on the field, and what we saw today from the skipper, even though he was in pain, he still went out and showed that, hey, I'm going to fight for us, and that's very commending from him. So I feel like everyone is just a full team effort throughout the whole season, and it paid off.
You know, Nate, what Stephen Taylor reminded me of all season, because he was captain, so I'd see him at the toss quite a bit. Especially, I saw him one time in the Super 8, and very much cool, calm, not a lot to smile about. Would joke with me, but then when we're talking about the season and the games, very much straight face. It reminded me a lot of that Kobe Bryant press conference back in the day in those finals, and where they ask him, "Hey, you're 3 up," and he goes, "I said, are you happy?" And he says, "What's there to be happy about? Job's not finished. Job finished? No, we got to win another one." And that's coming off the back of losing a final to the Boston Celtics. And it felt very similar to me, that same kind of hunger that this team felt because of the falling short in 2022.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, another thing about Steven is I'll see Steven around, I'll talk to him, he'll be smiling at me,
Yeah.
he'll be happy to see me. I ask Steven for a quote, I ask Steven to get on a video, anything.
Yeah.
No. He doesn't want to do it. Well, he told me earlier in the week at the Super 8, when I asked him after one of the games, "Hey, can I get you now? Because you won, you got to be happy now." And he's like, "After the final, if we win, I'll go on." And he did that. He did just that. And I think that was one of my favorite things about them winning.
Well, Stephen, we love you here on the show. We're always glad to have a soundbite from them and from him. Anyone really in the minor league community, we're just such big fans of the players. But Stephen Taylor has a special place in our hearts, obviously, with being at Church Street Park in 2018. He just kind of set a blaze for this community. And so it was special to see him win it in Church Street Park and see him do that. But also to see Shakib Al Hassan was really cool for us, because there's an international star back in minor league cricket, like we've seen from Rakeem Cornwall and Rovman Powell and Fidel Edwards when he was here. We've seen so many greats. But it also allows the local community here that just loves cricket to support some of their favorites. Well, Shakib Al Hassan, he has a following here in Mooresville, North Carolina. Who would have thought? And they came out to watch him in these finals.
Romana.
I'm Ryan. I'm Maruf.
I'm Umi. And I'm Kasturi.
We wanted to meet and see Shakib Al Hassan playing, and we were fortunate that we saw the whole game actually, and it was a good game of cricket. We never thought that in North Carolina, Morrisville locality, we'll see such a cool match happening with a good spirit, and we enjoyed the game.
Very much. Yeah, it's really nice.
Very first delivery Mukhtar Ahmed goes, and the Atlanta Fire have ignited Church Street Park.
This park was actually a selling point for us to move to North Carolina from Michigan. So representing Hamtramck, where there's a lot of great cricket fans there too as well. So yeah, it's cool to be here. It's been a long time coming.
So you got to meet Shakib.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I mean we spoke with him, took some autographs, took some pictures, and we're glad that I moved to left Bangladesh a long time ago, never got to see him playing live, and now in Morrisville, North Carolina, I got to see him.
Yeah, that's
Spoke
how
to him
odd that
to get
could
some
be.
food from the food truck. Like,
That's kind of dream come true.
Yeah, I think it was an honor for us.
really amazing.
To see him.
Yeah, and he's such a
be
kind
lovely
person.
night in Morrisville. It's
Yeah, he's
beautiful.
such a
Yeah.
kind person.
Yeah,
It
he was very
couldn't.
nice.
Yeah, it couldn't get better.
At some point, you gotta stop criticizing the bowler and just admire what you're seeing with the man.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to admire it. And that story of how he had never seen him when he was in Bangladesh, but getting to see him in his new home in Morrisville, North Carolina, that's just so special, Nate.
It was really cool just talking to them,
Yeah.
how excited they were. They were kind of celebrating over by their vehicles afterwards. When I approached them, I said, "Hey, can I mind if I get you on a video?" And they were like, "Sure, sure." But they were glowing. They actually had a really great time.
It was so cool. I think the whole vibe of having the final back at Church Street Park. I know, again, we're very biased on this. I'm not going to pretend like we're an unbiased set of eyes here. But there's just a different feel for me, having been at all 5 years, and you as well being been at the 5 years, or at least 4 of the 5 years of the final.
Yeah.
There's such a different vibe to it at Church Street Park versus anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, there really is. And, under the lights at Church Street Park, it's a beautiful, glorious setting. The sky is always beautiful as it's going down for some reason. I don't know why. It always is gorgeous at Church Street Park. It's my favorite place to be.
It's so great, and the players love being there as well. I remember talking to Rishi Pandey and talking to Jamar Hamilton, talking to Stephen Taylor, and they were telling me about the crowd. They talked to you about the crowd and how it was cool to have, maybe not the numbers of 2022 back out there, but fans caring, that know the context, and they're just there for great cricket and great minor league cricket, and they're there supporting and living and dying with every single moment. And we felt that. We felt the players dug out to do that. It was just such a surreal experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a reputation for being a place where good games happen under the lights, and
Yeah.
they didn't disappoint this year.
And what's crazy to me, Nate, is that we're just talking about the final, we're reminiscing, and I'm already thinking about 2026. And I'm thinking, okay, all right, let's get back to a final in 2026. That's what I'm ready for. And again, it just speaks to the quality of this tournament in particular, from the top down, organizationally, down to people that make the matches happen on a game day, to the umpiring, to the streaming, to the players themselves who are out there on the field, to every single volunteer and everybody just that is involved in making this entire product run.
To the team owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. It was excellent to see so many of the people that we think so highly of, that work for Major League Cricket, involved, throughout the week. And yeah, just the great memories once again. Once again, more good memories at Church Street Park.
Always good memories at Church Street Park. Sunny Patel has jumped in. Sunny, we love you. He says, "You guys are lovely. Great job. Keep it up. #champions." And I remember Sunny came up to me after we were setting up for the presentation, and he had been talking to me the entire season. And he's like, "Well, we got a strong team. We're getting Aaron Jones and Shakib for the playoffs. I think we're going to be really good." We're talking during the Super 8 while he's captaining, so he's at the toss. And he's like, "Yeah, we got this team. Feel good about it." He's always such a positive individual. And he comes up to me and is like, "We did it, man." And I was like, "I don't know about we, but congratulations, Sonny. Like, great job." And he hit the winning runs as well. He said, "I don't care who hits the winning runs as long as we get to win and rejoice in it." And it was again, that team is so hard not to root for, those Atlanta Fire.
It's true, and Kingsmen are an amazing squad
Absolutely.
too. The Atlanta was the first champion in the Atlantic Conference. We mentioned that earlier, but that's out of 5 championships, 1 from that conference. Chicago Kingsmen were the first team to go back-to-back to a
Yeah.
final. So it's a lot of history was at stake. And so now Atlanta, who had lost a final prior, These were both the first 2 teams to go to two
yeah.
finals. And Atlanta, which had lost one prior, got their retribution. And Chicago Kingsmen, who had won last season, had the disappointment of not coming through this season. And so it was a very interesting dynamic.
And think about that Chicago Kingsmen team. It is not the same team that went to the final last year. You lose, guys like Ihsan Adil. Those are pretty big losses to deal with and have to get over. And they retooled, they regrouped, and they still were just an unbelievable unit.
And you mentioned before, people had mentioned the advantage that Atlanta had. Okay, we saw that in the first 10 overs of the batting from Chicago Kingsmen.
Yeah.
But what did we see in the last 10 overs of the batting from Chicago Kingsmen? They were going at 10 and over for the last 10 overs. So it was an incredible recovery by a very, very, very good team. And it didn't surprise me one bit.
And you lose Hamad Azam as well. He's not available for that final. He didn't play in the last Super 8 game. And it's not so much with the bowling you think he would have made a difference, but with the bat, you feel like there might have been 10 to 20 extra runs that he maybe could have provided.
Oh, 100%. Like he could have. You have to bat deep at Church Street Park. I think that's one of the keys. Another key is you have to do all the little things right. You have to run well between the wickets. You have to field well and not miss your chances. And you have to not give extras.
Yeah, and again, I think that was the big thing to me, the extras, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you would have loved 160 or 170, and sure, Hamad Azam could have provided that for you, but Steven Taylor wasn't batting like Steven Taylor, right? He came out there, hit a couple of boundaries, but he wasn't Steven up top the order,
right?
And you had a real opportunity at the top of the order to go 3 overs, 12 for 2.
Yeah.
That very well could have been the score. And 12 would have been on the higher end of runs. Instead, it's 3 overs, you're 20 for 1, having not really scored off the bat.
Yeah, and we've seen a little bit, like you said, you don't have as big of a total to defend as you would have in Grand Prairie. So every little mistake is amplified. And we've seen teams at Church Street Park that were good teams lose because their second best wicketkeeper was keeping.
Yeah.
And they lost, 6 byes, and they would have maybe lost 1 or 2 otherwise. We've seen that sort of thing happen there. So it's margins. It's tiny margins at Church Street Park.
No question. And the entire league this year was so good. I mean, I thought the quality of player improved. I thought quality just across the board, right, was so good. And that's what you want with each and every season. And you know what? We had some incredible play. And we were part of the process with a bunch of other individuals to be able to choose the MVPs of each conference and of the league. And so we feel honored that we have the opportunity to announce it. There was one announced earlier today, so make sure you follow the MILC Cricket Instagram account and Twitter account. If you go to MILC Cricket on Twitter or MILC on Instagram, you'll find both of those accounts will have posted these by tomorrow. But the one that was posted today was Sai Mukamala. He wins the league MVP after winning the Emerging Player of the Year a couple of times, or maybe just the one time. He's now the MVP of the league just a couple of years later.
Yeah, he had an incredible season. Only the second time since 2002 have we... 2022, sorry. Well, I'd love it if the league was this old. But only the second time since 2022 do we have a batter with more than 500 runs in a season, and it's a batter in the East Division, and his name is Sai Mukamala. It's insane to have that many runs in the East, where it's the hardest to bat. Also, his team got to the Super 8. They've gotten to the finals every year. This season, the team ended the regular season undefeated. They did it in large part because of Sai's ability to get them through difficult innings and score big late, which is what he did a little bit in the Super 8 as well. He was fantastic in the Super 8. So to me, well-deserved MVP award to Sai Mukamala.
Don't forget about his wickets as well. Went 4 for 8 in one game, and he just added that to the arsenal. He's been brilliant all season. And like you said, that team was undefeated, but it wasn't like they cruised through their games in the regular season. There were moments where you said, oh, all right, the Signs are going to lose, and the Philadelphians are knocking on the door. The NYC Titans are knocking on the door of maybe stealing a playoff spot.
Right.
And then Sai says, no, I'm here. Bing, bang, bosh, we're going to win the game. Nice and simple. And he did that with both bat and ball. He was brilliant. And yes, MVP of the East, but also MVP of the entire league. And I think that one might have been one of the easier decisions to come to just because, again, the situations in which he did it in, the Eastern Division being the hardest to bat in, and just the ease in which he played every single game.
And it's never easy to call these. It's never easy to decide these. There's plenty of good options. But yeah, I think with that New Jersey Stallions team, as good as they were, they might only win 6 games without Simon Kamala in the middle.
And that's not an understatement, right? That's truly really what could have happened. And that team had Jesse Singh, but Jesse Singh was our second best batter on the team. That tells you maybe the lack of runs that they were at and how much Cy meant to that entire lineup.
Yeah, there were so many times he's coming in, wickets falling all around him, and he's just got to tie it together. You know, we talked about the lower scores at Church Street Park. It's nothing at all compared to lower scores up in New York.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing at all compared to that. And when you're losing wickets in bunches, and you got a guy like Cy, who is the most patient person that you can imagine, and he's very capable of going big. His international strike rate's over 150. So he's very capable of taking that gear right from the start. And he never makes the mistake of going too big too early. He always has a measured, patient approach whenever it's necessary. He's one of the most mature batters in the country.
No question. Jesse Singh was also another guy in contention for the Eastern Division MVP, but his teammate Simon Kamala was just head and shoulders above the rest of the entirety of the league. We'll move down south. This was a pretty difficult decision because Sunny Patel quietly joined the top of the wicket columns list. So did Sarbjeet Ludda throughout the regular season. But there was one guy who did both bat and ball, and while he wasn't available the entirety of the Super 8, his exceptional starts and then his impact play at the end made it pretty clear cut who was going to be the MVP of the South. It's Stephen Taylor, the captain of the champion Atlanta Fire.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic all season, bat and ball, especially towards the end there with the ball. But Atlanta, he would have had bigger numbers if he hadn't been so dominant.
Right.
Like if he and a couple other guys hadn't clicked at the same time, it's very hard to look at their batting and look 5, 6 down the order and see them getting many chances because they were finishing games like this.
Yeah, he took 12 wickets on the season, 11 wickets on the season, scored an upwards of 300 runs. Did a lot of that early on. Remember the couple of big innings he had early that set that massive net run rate boost for the Fire and really carried them through. He said once you had that net run rate, it never felt like they were going to miss the playoffs. And that's coming off a Baltimore team that bowled out a team for 63.
Yeah, he might have had a couple centuries if they weren't just
chasing 80.
100. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
He was brilliant, and his leadership as well was something that can't go untalked about.
Yeah, his captaincy is always so interesting and so aggressive and proactive and fun. His captaincy is a lot of fun. Now that's a fun team in general, full of all kinds of great personalities, and he does a good job of managing that team. They're a very close-knit group, and I think his leadership is a huge part of why.
No question, and again, they win because Stephen Taylor. I don't think you can look much further than why is he valuable? Think about why he came into bat, right? If he doesn't come into bat, the Atlanta Fire do not win that game. I know Aaron Jones is out there. I know Jamar Hamilton's coming.
Right.
But Stephen Taylor bridged that gap and made sure the Kingsmen didn't get a sniff. And that was really the difference all season long.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's just such a clutch performer, and so calm. He doesn't shy away from the moments.
No question. Well, let's move into the Central. This one might have been the toughest because there were so many guys that just kept coming up. Cheyenne Jahangir picked up a couple of hundreds. You had different batters, different bowlers. Smith Patel was brilliant all season. But we went to the all-rounder, Nate, and I don't think by much surprise you went to the captain of the Metroplex Tracers, Shubham Ranjane.
Yeah, Shubham, I mean, just what he meant to his team. I know they fell shy, but with bat and with ball, and just his ability to dominate while he's in the game, while he's in the middle, just an extra special cricketer. And, we see that in him being involved in more and more leagues around the world, being selected for some of the biggest T20 leagues in the world right now. Everyone knows how good he is, and his major league team certainly knows it, and he looks great in yellow, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. He just has a way. In yellow, he'll be with those Kings yet again in the SA20. But you talk about what he did this season, 318 runs through 9 innings, and then with the ball was sensational. 8 wickets at an economy at 7 in the Central, Nate.
Yeah, in the Central. And honestly, this might have been the hardest division to pick an
100%.
MVP, in my opinion. Talking to Brian Walters, he very much was on the Shubham Ranjane train.
Yeah.
And he contextualized it for me and how much he meant to that particular team. and they really were just a sniff away from the Super 8.
Oh man, they were this close. And again, when you talk about that Central and talk about the Texas teams, I mean, you had Xforia and Metroplex both miss. St. Louis was so unlucky throughout the season.
Just unlucky, really. Yeah.
Like they could have been a team that was competing, right, for a playoff spot, and they just happened to miss out on a couple of games.
Yeah, that Chicago Tigers team having to go without Savage, for a while. That team was very good as well, and they put up some great performances. So the entire Central Division is just absolutely stacked with talent.
And the West was so tough to decide also because you had guys like Abhishek Bararkar take 20-plus wickets, lead the entire regular season with wickets. You had Aaron Johnson commit so much with the runs. Yep. But I was very kind of adamant on one guy very early for his all-around attributes, but just for the couple of big impact moments he had for the Seattle Thunderbolts, and they ended up going in this direction. Shadley van Skalkvik, you become our West MVP. And you talk about he scores over 100 runs. He takes 21 wickets through 10 innings at an economy rate under 6.
Yeah, just crazy. He is Mr. Seattle Thunderbolt. That is for sure. Very popular there, and for good reason. He's the ultimate team guy. But yeah, he does everything for them. He lifts that team up so much, and I thought that was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal. He had, what was it, a triple wicket maiden to start the season, and then a triple wicket maiden to close the season. I mean, if that's not domination, then I'm not sure what is.
It's incredible. I wonder, though, if we looked at his stats without that.
Well, you take those 6 wickets away, and he's still near the top, right?
He's still near the top. It's
crazy. Get 15 wickets on the season, and that's a great season for most guys.
Pretty darn good, yeah. And Abhishek Parkar, he was quite good as well.
Aaron Johnson was brilliant.
Yeah. Abhishek came through with the bat, too. Mm-hmm. It was great to see. It was great. Obviously, Abhishek advanced to the Super 8, and he took 3 wickets in his final game, I think, in the Super 8. So he was quite good. But yeah, I think, look, there's so many great players we could talk about in all the divisions.
Sujit Gowda is another great example.
Sujit Gowda, absolutely fantastic. Year in and year out, one of the very best. Going back to the Central, Shea. Jahangir, Father Shea. Just absolutely brilliant. And so, it was kind of, it's tough to make these choices, but I think they're good ones.
And I think they made the right decision. So continue to follow the Minor League Cricket Instagram and Twitter accounts. So continue with these rollouts and announcements, and maybe you'll get some words from the players as well as they accept their awards. We're very honored to be able to, tell it as it is and announce these awards. If you guys disagree, feel free to put it in the comments if you feel like they got it right, and we're part of they, so be nice about it, please, maybe. No, all jokes. Whatever your real thoughts are, put it down there. If there's some folks we haven't talked about, you feel maybe snubbed, have a thought there. I think in the South, you can look at Ronak Sharma or even Tajiraj Chanderpaul,
Absolutely.
2 guys on teams that really needed them to be brilliant, and they were brilliant all year.
Yep.
With both bat and ball, so they were quite good. Now, because we're talking about MVPs and players of the year, we got to talk about a team of 2025. Don't we have to come up with a playing 11. Now, this isn't official. I don't know if minor league cricket's going to take this as the official.
This is our list.
This is our list. This is Aaman and Nate's and Babar Bhai as well. This is our team of 2025. We picked 12 guys on this list, and we said, okay, we have to make 221s, we have to have a wicket keeper in there, and we have to have 5 bowling options that we can go to. So we built it like an actual team here. Not everyone's batting in their ideal position, but here's a look at it. Sujit Gowda, we said, has to be a shoo-in, first guy to get to 2,000 minor league runs, was brilliant all year, alongside Stephen Taylor opening the batting and captaining. I think those two, pretty staple, with Saitesh Mukamala as the MVP of the entire league. Those 3, I think, were shoo-ins straight off the bat.
100%. Yes, absolutely. That is a really tough top order. Look at that top order. You got the lefty bat in there too, Stephen Taylor, and we've named him captain as well, because we like the adventure.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be very adventurous with this. And then we go to Cheyenne Jahangir to keep wicket for us at number 4. 200s for him this season, only 6 innings. He averaged 84 at a strike rate of 151. Does it get better than that?
He's an absolute monster right now. Yeah, you can't leave a guy out who has 200 scores in the season. You just can't. He was so good.
And just limited playing time. Congratulations, though, Father Shea. He just won the Atlanta Open as the captain of the Stallions X. So
that's right.
Congratulations.
He was quite
to
good
him.
in that tournament too.
He was brilliant in that tournament as well. One player of the match in game number 1 with the 50 of his own. Then we picked our other under 21. Now there were so many under 21 options. Here we were between Sahir Bhatia, the leg spinner from the New York City Titans, and Anj Boje, who cracked our list. We felt his runs, averaging 30 at a strike rate of 120, feels just so impressive. But take nothing away from Sahir, who took 18 wickets at an economy of 6.
When you're a U21 and you're averaging 30, striking at 120 plus, getting real time.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so impressive. It's very impressive, and nothing against any bowlers that are younger in the U21 age group. But we have a history of having better performances from bowlers in that age group than we do from batters. And Anj Boje was absolutely fantastic.
And it did feel like the year of bowlers. There were so many guys who cracked 20 wickets that you felt, okay, this has to be almost a batter. And you look at the batters still to come. Aaron Johnson. He rounds out the batting cohort. He does provide a little bit with the ball, but he's coming in number 6 on the team of the year.
Yeah, Aaron Johnson at number 6. Who wouldn't take that?
Over 300 runs for him. Blasted his way through that Western Division. Kept his side in the hunt for the playoffs for a very, very long time. Then Shubham Ranjane becomes our first all-rounder in the team. MVP of the Central, pretty standard, alongside the MVP of the West, Shadley van Schalkwyk, as the other all-rounder on the list.
Yeah, totally. Kind of like some of the first names you're going to put on there are the guys that are winning the divisions, the division MVPs. But yeah, Shubham, fantastic. We talked at length about both of them. So
yeah, brilliant. And then Sunny Patel and Abhishek Bharadkar, 2 guys who took 20+ wickets and provided close to 100 runs with the bat. They fill in slots 8 and 9.
And Sunny, if you're going to factor in the Super 8s into the equation, Sunny was the top wicket taker.
Absolutely.
Or he was, I believe, tied at number 1, or
he was I think,
by himself.
By himself at
number 1. Sunny was fantastic with bat and ball. He gives that team, he's like a Swiss Army knife for them. He's like their secret weapon in a way. Like his ability to, we've got Sunny coming into bat. Oh, everything will be okay. Oh, well, hey, let's just put Sunny in now in the attack. All right, great. It was the 4th over, no problem. 15th over, no problem. He is he can just do a little bit of everything. And a lot of bit of everything. And
he captained the Atlanta Fire for a bit this season as well with Stephen Taylor's injury. Abhishek Bharadkar was brilliant. This year, I thought he was so special with the ball. I think he's growing every single year. Past year, thanks to Major League, he's taken even another step. And you talk about left arm seamers in the USA, he could be the next great one that is in American colors. And then we round out the 11 with Sarbjit Ludda. Why not? The first guy to get to 100 wickets in minor league cricket.
And he had a great season to boot. He was right up there with Sunny Patel in terms of the most runs. He was right near the very top. And just every game, it seems like Ludda, you know what you're getting. You're getting 4 overs of threatening spin. Yeah. You're probably getting 2 wickets. You might get 5 wickets. Like, Ludda is just, and he bowls a lot at Church Street Park, which he performs very well at. Yes. So he's the perfect guy for that Baltimore Royals squad, for sure.
Yeah, so good. And then our 12th man, again, a lot of names we threw around here. We threw around Sahir Bhatia just to make it as the 12th man as an under 21. Shehan Jaisaria was another great name that we had thought about picking and putting in there. And there's plenty of others that could have cracked this list. I thought Narayan Chanderpaul, Jesse Singh could have been in the conversation as well.
Sure.
But we looked at Ronak Sharma, who led the Southern Division in runs, really up until the Super 8, was leading the league in runs for a little bit. And with the wickets, he was great as well as a leg spinner. And the thing that separated him was he really felt like the big cog in his team's machine. Mario Ramprasad was great, but it was Ronak Sharma or bust a lot of the time for the Fort Lauderdale Lions.
Yeah, it was the two of them going in the middle. Both of them had pressure right from the first ball, Mario and Ronak, and they had to carry that team throughout the innings. And knowing when you're going in for the first ball that if you're not there pretty close to the last ball, your team probably doesn't have a chance to win. That's a lot of pressure. And that really binds you up and it really keeps you from flowing freely. But Ronak Sharma still managed to find those runs and do it at a pretty good rate.
He was brilliant. And again, like you said, typically that pressure puts you in a box, and it didn't put Ronak Sharma in a box. And I think you look at him, you look at what he knew he was walking into, he was great. So that's our team of 2025. Did we get it right? We're not saying that we're perfect. This is just what we thought, and we've already been told we're not perfect. Nate, Raj's viewfinder, great to have you in there.
Hey, what's
one
up,
of the
man?
only, I remember taking a picture with him at the airport
Yeah.
one time. He caught me maybe on the worst flight of my life, and I was like, I just want to get home. And here comes Raj. Let's get a photo. And I'm like, yeah, Raj, for you, I'll take a photo right now. But if it wasn't you, I don't know if anyone else is getting a photo there. He says, I think Sahir should have been there. So Sahir Bhatia.
Good
and
argument,
I
yeah.
wouldn't disagree with you, right? I think that you could easily say, yep, get Sahir straight in as the other under 21.
And I think we were kind of 60-40 on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it came down in a lot of ways to the rest of the composition of the team because we put a little weight on trying to put a team together that makes sense
Yeah.
as far as for that team composition. And so we definitely tossed his name around quite a bit with seriousness.
Yeah, and I think, like we said, we were trying to put a team together that we felt, okay, if you put that 11 out there, they're going to compete at a high level. And you talk about having two leg spinners already in there, and Ludda and Sunny Patel, both of whom were pretty much staples.
Yeah.
You could have thrown in a third leg spinner and taken out, an Anj Bohin, still batted to number 8
Sure.
and number 9, really.
Yeah.
But you just felt that, okay, that might be the best decision to go Anj Bohin. But again, we're not saying we're right. This is just the way we felt.
If you make a U21 team, he's one of the first names on the
he
list.
is.
If you make a U23 team, he's one of the first names on the list for sure.
Maybe there needs to be an under 21 team or an under 23 team.
I like the under
that
23
comes
idea.
together because Rahman Dodge, someone we haven't talked about, he
Yeah.
was brilliant all season long.
Yep.
So maybe that's something we do need to talk about. And speaking of under 23s, the under 23s, we're looking at that because that's your major league projection, right? Well,
That's right.
what minor league is, it's who's going to be next, Nate? Who are the guys that are going to be a part of that MLC draft 2026? Well, we don't know who's going to get retained, who's going to get dropped, but what are some names that come to mind to you right now? I'll start. Sujit Gowda, Nate. I don't think you look much further than him. He feels like he's getting a return offer into Major League Cricket this season.
In so many ways, it's shocking that he's not currently in the league. He did get picked early on, but he hasn't been around since then, and he's just too good. He should be in a squad.
Yeah, who's the next guy for you that you feel could come in? Saad Ali. That's why he's written down Saad Ali there, and he couldn't find the handwriting.
Sorry, I got the handwriting issue. We got to do it in an order. We got it all queued up. But Saad Ali, another name that's kind of crazy that he's not in the team or in a team in Major League Cricket. He did get picked early on, but he hasn't made his way back. I think he, one of the best left-handed batters in the USA. His ability to change gears and be responsible and play the role that he needs to play is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think, we've talked about lefties and why not keep the lefty trend going. Saad with his brilliant play to get into the final. Well, Shayan Jaisaria was part of the Super 8 as well. I think so many people were surprised that his name wasn't called last year in the draft, and it feels like, okay, this year has got to be the year that he finds his way back.
Yeah, Shehan, and he gives you something. Obviously, look at this beautiful shot. Holy smokes. Obviously, he's super impressive from the left with the bat. He's one of the most prolific batters in the USA throughout minor league history. But he also gives you a little bit with the ball, too. I think that it was shocking that he was dropped last season. It was even more shocking when he was not picked in the draft.
Yeah.
I think he goes right back in there, and he gets picked again this season.
And then there's an under 23 both of you, me and you have talked about all season that you feel is bound to be in the league.
Yeah, I think Rahman Dar has been absolutely fantastic. And watching his development across the years, a lot of people talk about many of the players that he was in that U19 USA squad with. His name doesn't get brought up as much. It's not because he's not good. It's just because of how good those other players are and how far they've come along. But quietly, Rahman has done just phenomenally down there in Texas in the toughest division in the league. Not only holding his own, but really kind of winning games for his team.
And it's no longer quietly. This might be the third consecutive season where he's had great minor league numbers.
Yeah.
So you sit there and think about how Saimul Kamala's made this big jump. He feels like the next Sanjay Krishnamurthy, another member of the under 21 class, Ali Sheikh, another guy in that under 21 group. he feels like a guy that's right there to be the next guy. Remember, he was the best batter in that under-19 Nationals in that
he was
year.
quite good.
Now, Sai did win the overall MVP as a batter, but
Yeah.
it was Rahman that had scored the most runs to be considered the best batter in that competition. Want to shout out Raj's Viewfinder one last time. He says, thanks to both of you. Amazing commentary. Super, super work overall. Always awesome to hear you guys during the match and after. It's always awesome just to be a part of it. We thank you so much, and we thank all of you guys who are tuning in.
Yeah, and give Raj's Viewfinder a follow on Instagram as well, too, because he is really plugged into the league. He pays very close attention to it. He's got a lot of good content as well.
Yeah, he goes by Americricket. That's the thing, Americricket.
Americricket.
So
Okay.
it's nice if you get the little pauses in there. I can't say it full throttle. I'm sure Raj has got a way to say it smoother than I do. But Nate, we've talked about the players we love, we talked about the games we liked, but it's time to talk about the top 10. We love making these videos, and we've got one final top 10 for 2025. Bye, run the clip. The top 10 plays, it starts out with Gajnan Singh, 38 years young, diving out to his left, and then he wasn't done for the weekend, takes another brilliant catch at backward point. The only reason this isn't higher is because Amshi Da Silva does this, trekking, tracks it down. Brilliant. Well done. Got Brian Walter screaming on call. Then Saimo Kamal in this Super 8. 4 consecutive sixes to close the game. Has that Midas touch, and everything he touched turned to gold in that final Super 8 game. Rishi Pandey, he was brilliant as well. It's another under 23 that we could talk about. 250s through that Super 8 competition for the champion Atlanta Fire. Unmuk Chand and Andres Kroos chimed in with a 100-run partnership in what was basically the qualifier for those finals in the Pacific Conference. They were brilliant in their own right together. Steven Taylor, this individual 6 felt like the turning point and the big momentum shift off of one hand. Saad Ali, he's the reason the Chicago Kingsmen were in the final thanks to this brilliant innings with 4 boundaries in the final over with back-to-back sixes to win the game. At number 3, well, if I had a quarter for every time it happened, I'd have 2 quarters, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it's happened twice. Shakib Al Hassan, first ball wickets, just go hand in hand, Mukhtar Ahmed, and then gets the big Ramiz Raja. Then it was Farhan Ali, 92 that he scores in the minor league final. The highest score in the minor league final history, put up 156 for the Chicago Kingsmen, got them into position. If not for this man, Aaron Jones, he's a big match player, Nate. We already heard it straight from him himself, and he took his feats into minor league cricket. How great was he? How great was 2025? And there is your final top 10 of 2025, Nate.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that highlight reel. Faraz Ali, what an innings that he played. I mean, imagine doing that and falling short, but Aaron Jones takes the cake.
Well, we're running short on time here, Nate. I just want to say thank you to you for everything that you've helped with and everything you've done for this season in minor league. Just give me a quick blanket statement about this year.
It was great. Minor league is back. It's better than ever. And I can't wait for 2026.
We're already talking about 2026. We thank all of you guys who have joined us throughout the year. We have loved bringing you minor league content. It's one of our favorite things we get to do. And for one final time in the 2025 season, for myself, Aaman Patel, for Nate Hayes, and for our very own Babar Baig, we thank you so much for joining us. And we can't wait to see you again, well, whenever next time is.
Atlanta Fire. It's been 5 years in the making. They say one heart, one fire, and tonight there's only one minor league champion.